Greetings. This tutorial is based on components and modules and how to create a component and module in an Angular project. I'm also going to show you the significance of a component and module in an Angular project. So hopefully this tutorial will be helpful for all of you. Thank you. Okay, so this is the project that I have created in the before tutorial. So let's look at the app component first, the file structure of the app component. Since I have selected routing in the project setup, an app routing.module.ts file is being created as well. This is the CSS file where the styles are being added, the HTML, the spec.ts file, which includes the testing, app component.ts file, and the app module. So in order to, if we create a new component, that component will always be the child component of this component, which is the app component. App component will always stand out as the parent component of the entire project. So let's go ahead and create a new component. Yeah, so as you can see, we are in the wrong directory. We need to be on the app component directory. Okay, so the command that's used to run a new component is ng. We could say component or simply C and give a name that you prefer. Okay, so as you can see, 4 files have been created and update that is being done to the app module.ts file. I'll come to this later. Let's go ahead and look at the files that have been created. This is the CSS file. We could include any style as we prefer, just like the app component over here. And then there's the HTML file. This is what we need to show on the browser, and I'll show you how it's done later on. This is spec.ts file, which is again used for unit testing, and the component.ts file. Okay, so let's go ahead and look into the changes that have been done to the app module.ts file. So app module.ts file has a reference to the new component, and it's declared it's added as a declaration in the ng module. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the project, and let's see what is being displayed in the browser for now. We are in the wrong directory, so let's move back to the app folder, ng serve. As you can see, there is no HTML added from the new component.html file that we created. This is the HTML that is being added from the app component.html file, and this is the binding that is done using the variable title. This is what's been displayed in the browser. In order to display the content of the .html file in the new component, we need to add some changes into it, and I will show you through the flow of how it works. When the project first runs in the browser, it first executes the index.html file, which is shown in the screen right now. So the app root tag is the root tag that is created in the Angular by default. So this tag has the reference to the main.ts file. In this file, as you can see, the app module is imported from the app of the main parent module, and the same is given to the bootstrap module, which makes the app module load. So let's look into the app module.ts file now. Here the app component is the name given, the variable which stores a reference to the app component.ts file, and the same is given to the Bootstrap as well. Let's look into the app component.ts file. Over here, the Angular core is imported and referred as the component, and the same is used in the declarator. In the declarator, reference to the selector, template URL and the style URLs are given. The selector here is nothing but the tag which is placed in the index.html file. Component has a variable called title which is displayed in the browser. The app component uses the template URL, this called a component.html, which is over here. It just has the HTML code and the variable title in curly brackets, which is displayed in the browser over here. So let us see now the changes required to get the new component contents to get displayed in the browser. The selector in the new component.ts file is created for the new component. So what we need to do is we need to add this selector in the app component.html file, which is the main parent created by default. So let's go ahead with it. Let's copy this out and add it as a tag in the app component.html file. Let's save it. The new component.html of the new component created will get displayed on the browser along with the parent component data. So let's add some details into the new component created and let's see the display in the browser. Let's go back to the component.ts. I have created a variable over here called new component. Now that we have inserted a new component selector in the app component.html, which is the .html of the parent component, the content present in the .html of the new component gets displayed on the browser. So now that if we add a new binding, if we bind this to the app new component HTML file, it will get displayed as well. So let's create a new p tag and let's bind this variable into it. So the displayed results will be as follows. Let's add a style to this as well. Let's go to the CSS file. Let's add a style for the p tag. Let's add a color, blue, and let's add a font size. Let's go with 30 px. Now that we have added the blue color and the font size 30 px, it should get displayed in the browser as well. So let's look into the browser. As you can see, the changes are being done. Likewise, we can create components and link the same using selectors in the app component.html file as required. So even if you create any amount of a component, if you use that selector tag on the app component HTML, which is the parent tag, parent component, the contents will be displayed in the main browser. So now let's get into the modules and let's see how a module is created and the significance of that. Modules in an Angular refers to a place where you can group the components, directories, pipes, and services which are related to the application. So in case you are developing a website, the header, the footer, left corners, center, right sections become parts of a module. So to define a module, we can use the ng module. When you create a new project using Angular CLI command, the ng module is created in the app module.ts file by default. And it will look like this. The ng module needs to be imported using the Angular/core. The structure for the ng module is shown as this, and there's a declaration array, imports array, providers array, and a bootstrap array. Declaration is an array of components created, so if any new component gets created, it will be imported in the declaration array, and the reference will be included in the declaration as shown. Import array is an array of modules required to be used in the application, so it can also be used in the components in the declaration array. For example, let's say right now in the @ng module, we see the browser module imported. In case your application needs forms, you can include that module in the imports as well. So I have already imported the modules, form module in the import array, and also the app routing module was imported because I selected routing when creating the project. So both of them are imported in the imports array. Providers includes the service we created. So if we create a new service, it will be added to the providers array. Last but not least, the bootstrap array. It includes the main app component for starting the execution of the project. So that's the end of the tutorial. So if you need any questions to be asked, you can add it on the comment section below. Thank you for watching.